But this is why sadhus, they take it all off, but they are just wearing nothing, and they're sitting with ash. Their hair isn't matched because they don't want the validation from that. They're not even interested in putting themselves out there, but they're just working on their heart. How can my heart become more valuable? How can my connection be more worthy? Huh?
Right. Yes.
Very interesting, huh? They go out of the way to cut the relationship with wealth, with beauty, with strength, with all these things that the whole material world is chasing.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Upadhis. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1441, here live with Miss Mara, spinning the dials, gearing up for the Wisdom of the Sages retreat this weekend and the Bhakti Recovery Day retreat, which is happening. There's still some spaces for that one on Friday. Jiva G's in town. Everything's getting exciting. I just got in late last night.
Hold it. Jiva G is in town, like up at Super Soul?
Yeah, well, she's at Bobby's, but she's coming over today. She was here last night.
Here, not last night, the night before she stayed over here.
We're tugging a war. We're trying to get her.
Oh,
everyone wants Jiva.
That's right.
Yeah. And prayers are out. I got out miraculously just in time because this hurricane is coming, and a lot of people have not even recovered from last 2 weeks ago's Hurricane Helene, and now Milton's coming, and Milton is this, what do they call it, a class 5
category 5.
Category 5.
It doesn't sound dangerous, Milton, but
Milton it sounds like a bookworm. They should have made it like they should have made it like Dagger or some like Spike. Hurricane Milton sounds like a professor is going to come look at your house and blow on it. No, it is like a serious. Everyone's running from Milton.
Oh, man.
And there's a massive exodus right now in Florida. And our prayers go out to everybody in that area. We had people on Pine Island that got hit really hard. And also Linda is coming right for St. Pete. So our prayers are out. And all the devotees, school's already closed where they live.
In Lamachua?
Yeah, and my flights would have been, I think they're closed for tomorrow and the next day, but it's getting closer, and everyone's battening down the hatches because the debris on the road that just gets picked up and thrown.
Thank you for your expertise.
Well,
how much do you study and now you want to share? You're
doing
a little book report for us.
My son had to get out of there. My son was coming up for the Wisdom of Sages retreat, and we were just get in your car and drive. And so he's doing the exodus right now. He's got a car full of gas cans and water, and there's a whole tragedy going on now, Kostuba.
Okay.
Living in these ivory towers, you don't even know what's going on out there.
Speaking of that kind of stuff, our refugees up in Montreal, Karuna and family, are they going to be coming down for the?
Trying to figure it out today.
We're working on it.
Yeah, but they are safe. They are safe. I mean, this is the thing. It's like we hear about these tragedies, and now with the information age, you hear about more tragedy than you've ever known there was tragedy. Tragedy happens at any minute to everybody. Nobody's safe. Good morning, everybody. It's a happy Tuesday. But this is what we're doing. We first get the idea that this material world is constantly changing seasons, so to speak. And to think that we're going to have some endless summer, with our life is just not realistic. Things happen like this.
Hurricane season comes.
And the investment has to be in our spiritual life.
Okay.
And shoosh. Right. Anyway, it's good to be back.
Good to have you back, Robert.
Yeah.
How about announcements, Mara? Anything not weather related?
I do. Less disastrous announcements. If Wisdom of the Sages has been helpful in your life and you'd like to contribute to our work, please log on to wisdomofthesages.com and become a supporting member of our Sage community platform.
We're trying to see who can be the biggest, the boldest, the loudest supporter of Wisdom of the Sages. Who can give
Are
the
we?
biggest monthly contribution? That's
Are
what we're
we?
doing today.
No, that's not what we're doing. But
Okay.
for a minimum $5 monthly contribution, you get access to a wide range of live and archived classes, community chat, merchandise, retreat registrations, and much, much more. Log on to wisdomofthesages.com and join today.
$5 a month, $500 a month. You can give whatever you want.
Okay.
You know, they
let's
always
move
say
on
you
to
should
the nugget.
recommend
We're gonna-
something bigger. People
let's-
will give whatever you recommend. Did
We
you
have
ever
a
hear that? There's a whole
big-
theory about that.
We have a big nugget. When we read that today.
Okay. Here's the nugget.
What do you got?
A 2011 UC Berkeley study revealed that Mercedes and BMW drivers. Now, if you drive a Mercedes or a BMW, forgive us for this one. This is not us. This is a study. Mercedes and BMW drivers were nearly 5 times more likely to cut off other drivers compared to those in non-luxury cars.
5 times.
5 times.
That's like a lot.
You know what? I get this.
When you
totally
feel the
understand.
power of that machine.
Yeah.
I have some information on that study, but would you like to share something first?
Well, you know, I remember one time I was in New York City and my car broke down. At that time, I was driving one of those very racy little, Scion XB. Those little box cars of 2000s.
Oh, you had that boxy thing. I remember
That little
right?
boxy Scion XB.
You thought that was like trendy or
No,
something?
it was a
Why'd
piece
you get
of
that
crap.
boxy thing?
I was poor, and that was the cheapest car I could
Was it?
afford.
Okay.
Yeah, I just came out of a bankruptcy, and but it was a good car. It had like a Camry engine, but then something happened to it. Oh, I got hit. Someone hit me, and then I was like, I still had all these clients upstate. So I was teaching one of my wealthy clients, and I was sharing, oh yeah, my car just got hit. I got all these clients tomorrow upstate. He goes, well, you just take my car. I was like, okay, thank you. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Who'd
Thank
like
you.
lend me their car? There, Achuta posted a Scion XB. Thank you, Achuta, for humiliating me more.
It's like the designers are like, we don't have a lot of time today. Just
design anything. We needed a car
Just a
out.
box.
Who was on? Who was
They're
in
like, I
charge of
brought my
this?
kid to work today.
Bring your daughter to work today.
this is what they drew.
All right, let's make it.
They made it out of Legos.
It's almost like it's made out of Legos. Anyway,
So what car? What kind of car was it?
It was a. He's like, okay. I was like, thanks so much. He goes, yeah. The doorman will bring it up from the garage, but listen, it's $150,000 Range Rover.
Careful. Range
Be
Rover.
really careful. And I was like, oh God. So immediately I was like, I was really scared. I didn't want to put it. And you're driving to New York, and people are, and I'm a good driver in New York City, but you're a little overly concerned about everything. But by the time I got up to Hudson, I just started getting in the mood of like, this is me. This is my car.
Bob.
Look at these other cars, Then I say, oh, that's a nice car. That's a pretty nice car too. But most of these cars are nothing. And you sort of assume, maybe this is just maybe I'm revealing too much, but you just sort of assume that car as you. And then I just see some other cars like in Hudson, we're going down Warren Street, and some cars are just sort of like parked blocking the road. I'm just like sticking my head out the window. I was like,
Loser.
piece of crap. Come on, I gotta go to work. And you take on the mood of the vehicle. And then I was like, oh my God, this is everything I talk about in Bhakti. I was like, because of our body, we become either a little bit, we feel whatever they said this, fat shamed or body shamed, because we are ashamed of our body. And then we get ripped and strong and fit or good looking, or we get a lot of validation because of our beauty, our eyes, our abs, our butt, our legs, our beautiful hair, etc. And then we start to take on the bhava, or the energy of that body. And it can that good karma can throw you into a tailspin of illusion in the material world.
Right.
And it's understandable. People are looking at you differently. They're looking up to you. They want to. Yeah, I went into upstate New York like some type of like powerful monarch. And the interesting thing, I'm just a little tiny
A
jiva
powerful
drives
monarch.
who drives a Scion
That's
XB.
what you felt, huh?
But I mean, I might be exaggerating a little, but the idea is that there was an attachment to the vehicle. You did feel better about yourself, but it's actually not real
Okay. It's very
self.
temporary.
Yeah, well, it's not real. Like I've done nothing to deserve it. You know, our real self-worth does not come from what I drive. It comes from there might be some self-worth, like I've worked hard, I've saved money, or like if you're maybe like proud of your body because you've worked hard and you were out of shape and now you got in shape. That's okay. But there's a line it crosses when it's all about your body, all about your car, all about your career, all about your position, all about your abs, all about your home.
Okay, so
then,
slow down.
you understand where I'm going with this?
I
And
do.
then it's all leaning into ego. And
I was even thinking of sharing something myself.
no, I want to hear what you have to share. I gotta let this out, man.
No, you did.
I gotta
That's good.
explode. I gotta empty my cup.
Okay, let's just. When I first saw that, I thought, well, how do they test that? But I found an article on it. Okay,
You've researched this meme?
I've researched it. This is from New York Times article from August 2013. It's entitled "The Rich Drive Differently," a study suggests.
The rich to drive differently.
Now,
Sure.
Now, even that is an assumption because I think poor or rich, once you get in that car, you may start driving that way.
Well,
Right?
that
Like
was me.
there you go. You gave the
That
example.
was
of
me.
it.
It's
Yeah.
not the rich.
It's not the rich, it's the car. Right. Okay, let's hear it. They said that there was a scientific study. Now scientific research supports the unwritten and broadly circulated theory that people in BMWs are lacking in road manners. Paul K. Piff, a researcher at the Institute of Personality and Social Research at the University of California, Berkeley. They must get some interesting research out of there, I bet, right?
This is going back to Father Sergius, isn't it? He
Know
cut
if
off
it-
his thumb. He didn't want to be beautiful and attractive. So he cut off his thumb.
That wasn't, no, you still, we were right back where we were a week ago. It wasn't because he was trying to like disfigure himself to look unattractive. The point was he was getting in the moment, he was all caught up. He was about to fall victim to her seductions. Once he cut off his thumb, he couldn't do that anymore. It was
Okay.
yeah, right.
Right.
Okay. Hold on to that. Okay. So anyway, the traffic study, a part of a larger body of research relating behavior and wealth, not necessarily wealth, pitted pedestrians against passing motorists.
Yeah.
This is essentially what they did. In California, where the study was conducted, the state law requires motorists to stop at crosswalks when pedestrians are present, allowing them to cross the road. Mr. Piff said his team selected a specific crosswalk to observe. Then they had a pedestrian appear on the edge of the curb as the car approached. As the pedestrian stepped into the road, the researcher marked down the driver's reactions to the pedestrian. This was done with 152 drivers.
Wow.
The team also watched a four-way stop intersection over a week, noting how likely drivers were to cut in front of others when it was not their turn to go. Right, like four stop signs means everybody has to
four-way stop.
Live up to their
Reserve first goes first.
civic duty.
There's law and order here.
Yeah, but it's up to everyone to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that they also observed that. In their observation, 274 cars, the researchers found that the more expensive ones were more likely to jump their turns in a four-way rotation, Mr. Piff said. So it goes on and on describing this, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Raghunath, is that it's not necessarily that they're wealthy, although wealth can affect you that way for sure. But even just the car itself, you enter into that body and you adopt a different identity, right? And how you feel about yourself, how you feel about others, even in that car, what to speak about the human bodies that we're in, right? There's a Sanskrit word, upadhi, right? Upadhi, which Yeah, it could mean a false designation. You know, it could mean an imposition. Like they say, if you have a crystal and you put a red rose next to the crystal, then the crystal takes on the redness of the rose,
Hmm.
and that's an upadhi. That's an imposition that has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the nature of the crystal, but it's just
Nice analogy, Kastuba. Good
temporary.
analogy.
Good analogy, right? Yeah,
Good analogy. I'm going to keep that one.
the red rose, the
The
red
red
rose.
rose and the crystal. I never heard
Yeah.
that.
So similarly, the human body, you know, you were born with a body that has certain characteristics. Some of us are born in a body that's more like a BMW, and some of
Yeah.
us are born in a body that's more like, what do you call that car that you had?
Jalopy. A jalopy. Oh, a
No,
Scion XB.
a Scion XB. So like, when,
Can't believe you posted that picture. Thank
when
you.
when you were in your
Because
boxy.
you're all picturing me driving that, weren't you? Everybody was picturing me.
But when you're in one car, you begin to feel like I'm just like a normal guy. I'm no one special over here, right? And when you're in the other car, you're like, what did you call it? I'm the monarch.
I'm driving into town like a monarch.
And so we need to think about it. The driving a particular car, not it affected the internal mood. It also affected their behavior. People
Sure.
became rude, maybe even a little dangerous.
You know,
And-
this is interesting. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on, buddy.
Well, just that how it makes us stop and think. How prone am I to my internal dialogue as well as my external behavior based on the particular body that I'm in at this moment?
Sure.
You know, we talk about like girls in high school and the pretty ones that, you know, they have things like mean girls, right? They're like, oh, because I'm in this
it's
body,
real.
I'm more special than, and
Oh
become
man,
rude and
I was
cruel.
tortured
Okay.
junior high school by mean girls.
Mean girl. and then you know, and then you have
They were so mean.
whether it's men, boys, girls, we take on, you know, how prone are we? And how does this affect our journey through this material world to try to get to a point where we really understand what this world is all about?
Yeah.
There's a verse, Sarva Upadhi Vinir Muktam, Tat Parat Vena Nirmalam, right? That but through performing bhakti, one lets go of all Sarva Upadhi Vinir Muktam, Sarva Upadhis, all the Upadhis Vinir, we become free of them. This is where we're trying to go, right? I'm not this body, and I'm not all of the, you know, there is something really impressive. Sometimes you meet someone like the gentle giant, or you know what I'm saying? Like someone who's got a body that would
I thought there was a
qualify them.
particular person that we call the gentle giant.
No. I'm just saying as a category, you know, like
Okay. Yeah.
sometimes there's someone like that's, yeah, like maybe a guy that's really huge and built, but he's soft and considerate and gentle.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they flip that whole stereotype.
It's quite striking when you meet someone like that, you know.
Sure. It's wonderful. Actually, you know, Achuta wrote on the message board, I wonder how this tendency translates to good looking people in social settings or rich people.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the whole thing. It's can you say how would you translate the bhava or the
Bob, the mood that
the mood or the
adopt.
experience of that external wealth and bigness of the material world? You take it on.
Right.
And then you enjoy and suffer accordingly. Like for someone, you have that incredible car and someone just scratches it, like you are upset.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you've really taken such good care of it, and some idiot just bounces, you know, doesn't even think twice and scratches it with the zipper of their jacket or something. But here's my interesting, you know, the interesting thing is what the great yogis do.
Yeah.
Even the most, and when we look back historically at Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, my namesake, you know,
He was very wealthy.
Sanatan Goswami. They were the haves.
Yeah.
They were millions, if not billionaires, and they were the most learned kids in school. You know what I mean? They were from the highest, you know, highest families. You know, then of course you have like queens like Mirbai. You know what I mean? They were queens. They have everything. They're richer than anybody we know. They were queens of kingdoms. And they just decided, you know what? I'm not playing this game. I don't want my worth to be based on stuff. I want my worth to be based on my personal integrity and personal connection. And what they did was they just downplayed it all. Sometimes you see that, like in LA, there's some like super rich actor and they're just like walking around in their pajamas
like
to
to do that.
Starbucks
Yeah.
or something like that. It's like, who's that bum? No, that guy is the director of. But
Dressing
this
down.
is why sadhus, they take it all off, but they are just wearing nothing. They're sitting with ash. Their hair isn't matched because they don't want the validation from that. They're not even interested in putting themselves out there, but they're just working on their heart. How can my heart become more valuable? How can my connection be more worthy? Huh?
Right. Yes.
Very interesting, huh? They go out of the way to cut the relationship with wealth, with beauty, with strength, with all these things that the whole material world is chasing.
Raghunath, it's a fascinating thing. I remember once a very thoughtful bhakti yogi shared with me the idea that like sometimes people are born in a body that's a little disfigured in some way.
Yeah.
Or maybe particularly unattractive in a particular
Could be a qualification for bhakti.
Maybe they even prayed for that, right? In other words,
Well,
like maybe in a previous life, they said, I've been living. Sometimes like very beautiful women will speak like this, right? It's like my beauty is actually like just making life hell for me in one sense. It's like,
well, I know I struggle with that with my personal beauty.
yeah, I know.
Well,
It's been hard
it's
for
like
you.
hard for me to be spiritual when people are just fainting all over me. Like, he's so short and pudgy.
What was that? You're so.
Oh, I love all him. He's got so
versatile
many
name.
beautiful necks. Oh, I
You're
wonder.
so bald and so chubby. Or something.
The hair coming out of Raghunath's ears is quite attractive.
But in any case, what this person was sharing with me was that we it's natural for people to within them, even if we don't express it. A lot of people express it externally.
Sure.
But even if we don't, we may have it internally, a little bit of pride compared to someone who's a little disfigured or something. But maybe they're born in just such a way that they're going to be free of pride. And what to speak of that person is a devotee, it's like maybe they were praying for that birth. Maybe they had a birth where they're like, this is holding me back. It's making it harder for me to be free of my upadhis, to let go. I want to be born in a body where I won't even have that issue.
Okay, here's some for you. Mara, here's a Krishna quiz. Put your knitting down. Can you think of any time in the Vedic histories that someone has been rude to because of their beauty or strength or wealth? They've been rude. They've been a little arrogant, and because of it, they had to take a birth. They have to suffer a little bit because of that.
Mara?
Ashtavakra was cursed.
Yeah, I was thinking of Ashtavakra. Good job. We got cursed to be bent in 8 places.
Yeah.
I was thinking of also the Nalakuvera Manigriva. They were just like arrogant and they were just like in their
playboys.
They're playboy. They were
Wealthy.
playboys. They were playboys.
Beautiful.
They're from a really wealthy family. Their father is.
As a matter of fact, their father was like the god of wealth, but
he was the god of wealth. And they just have women, and they're drunk, and they're in the Mandaki Ganga, and Narada walks by, and he just curses them. He says, "Okay, you like that? You like to show off your body in front of me? You become a tree. Become a tree."
Well, who I was thinking about Raghunath was not necessarily a next birth thing, but Indra. Right? We see again and again and again.
We're going to go to that story. We're going to that story.
See, I'm tying it all. Nice.
Is this where we're going? Is that story coming up?
Raghunath, I try to tie these things together. No, the story, we've already started the story. Indra was given a garland by Durvasa, right? A very
that story.
Powerful. That's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the one that we're reading about.
I'm talking about 20 eyes in my head.
No,
that one.
That'll come. That'll come.
Okay.
20 eyes in my head. No, but
Barrett doesn't even know what I'm talking about.
So Durvasa gave. We just read this probably last Friday, right? Durvasa gave a garland. It was an act of kindness. Here's a garland for you. Now, when you're in Indra's position, you're like the king, and this is like a sage, Durvasa. So when he hands you that, there should be some gratitude expressed. Oh,
Mhm.
this is so special. You've handed me this garland. I'll treasure this, you know. I'll respect it. It's by respecting the garland, you're respecting the sage. By neglecting the garland, you're neglecting the sage, right? It's a demonstration that you're not important. I'm more important than you. And
Sure.
so he took that garland and he just kind of casually like tossed it over to his elephant.
Sure.
The elephant, being an elephant, is not held responsible in the same way that he is, right? It dropped it, it stepped all over it, and the sage said, just see his position. He's got the BMW body, the BMW position.
He's driving around on a flying elephant. Imagine
He's
that.
driving around a flying elephant.
Stewart pulls up in a BMW. I pull up in a flying elephant. Who's cooler?
So, yeah. So he's saying,
I'm cutting
look,
you off with my elephant.
he's taken this position as Indra due to lifetimes of dharma and piety. But now that he's in the position and been given the BMW that comes with the position, you know, he's been given this high level luxury circumstance body. The body of Indra, we can imagine, you know, you want to talk about statuesque and handsome and, you know, but look where it's gone. It's made him callous. It's made him crude. It's made him, he doesn't care about others. He's disrespectful. Therefore, I'll curse him, right? And take away his power. Let him feel again what it's like to be weak. Let him feel again what it's like to be vulnerable. It'll be good for him. And that's what he does. And that's where we find Indra now when we pick up this story, is that the demigods, you know, one minute they're enjoying like crazy. We're on top. We're number one. We're powerful. We win the battles. We get the women. We get the opulence and the fame. And the next minute they're running for their lives. Oh my God, it's all getting taken away. They're getting humbled.
Sure. And this is the nature of the material world, is to sort of crack that sort of macadamia nut. I say macadamia nut because they're like the hardest nuts to crack. You need a special nut cracker for a macadamia. Do you know that?
I didn't.
And
I
so,
always get 'em already
yeah, so the
cracked.
material world is designed to crack us, humble us, and not to crush us like we're so we remain bitter, but as we put our spiritual twist on it, to make us take shelter of the very thing that will embolden us and strengthen us and bring us to the next platform of existence. And if we have a spiritual goggles on, then we're sort of leaning into spirit when these tragedies and these very bitter cold winter seasons come to us.
There you go. There you go. Now Indra's, now he's going through that bitter cold winter season. But at least with his piety, he remembers what's the right thing to do. And he's going to go to Brahma. Right? Brahma, he's throughout the Bhagavatam, we're seeing Indra, top level materialists, make mistakes, get confused, act incorrectly, get caught up in his opulence, and then get embarrassed. For the most part, Brahma is always above that. We see one time in the Bhagavatam, though, right? He kind of loses it. But now we hear Indra, and he goes with the Devas. They go to Lord Brahma. Look at us. You know, look with the position we put ourselves in. Help us. Give us some good instruction because we need it right now. You ready?
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chaksudan Madatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 8, chapter 5, text 17 and 18.
So now they're getting attacked by the Devas, headed by Indra, getting attacked by the Asuras, the demons.
It's like they're all going down now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like this.
He brought in such
Even in the
inauspicious-
celestial planets, they're at war. Everybody's at war at all times.
There's a lesson here that being respectful, being kind, not getting caught up in your body and cutting people off on the road and disrespecting
Be a kind
stages,
driver.
that will bring inauspiciousness into your life, right?
Hmm.
Humility. All right.
Okay, here's Lord Indra. Ready? Lord Indra, Varuna, and the other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted amongst themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of Sumeru mountain. There, in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances, and then they informed him of all the incidents that had taken place. So you have this, all the demigods are headed by Indra, but there's another demigod who's like bigger than all of them. That's Lord Brahma. So they're all taking they're at the complaint board meeting here.
And there's this like, there are these levels in the universe, like Indra's level, Indra Loka.
Mm.
That's a place of great opulence and enjoyment and power and influence. But then above that, there are these other lokas, right? These other planetary systems where everybody's like a sage. They're just like meditating up there, you know? And they can sit peacefully and bring God into their mind and into their heart. And so it's like, that's where you're going to get your good instruction from, right? It's like although they're very powerful, but they have no interest in engaging that power for any materialistic purpose. And they're just kind of they're so above what Indra and his associates are going through. So they've gone to Brahma and then we need some help. We need to go up to that quiet. They're not so interested in that place, you know? For them, it's like, oh, it's too sattvic up there. There's not enough action, you know?
Livin la Brahmaloka. What does loka mean? Like the Vita Loka?
Loco means crazy. Loco.
Oh, loco. Okay.
Living the crazy life.
Living the crazy life. Okay, upon seeing that, the demigods were
Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka. That was a good song.
I was like, you're here.
You know, you didn't want to like that song, but you're like, this is catchy. It's a catchy song.
Were you listening to it when you're driving that Range Rover?
Oh, Krishna.
All right. Let's see
Anyway,
what happens.
upon seeing that, the demigods were bereft of all influence and strength, and that the three worlds were consequently devoid of all auspiciousness.
True.
And upon seeing that, the demigods were in an awkward position, whereas all the demons were flourishing.
Yeah, the bad news. It's a bad
News,
setup,
like bad.
universal situation.
Yeah, happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Lord Brahma, who's above all the demigods and who was the most powerful, concentrated his mind on the supreme personality of Godhead. Thus, being encouraged, he became bright-faced and spoke to the demigods as follows.
Interesting, right? It's like
Yeah.
they're just kind of like, oh, what are we gonna do? You know, they're like all panicking and everything. And he said, oh yes, okay, you brought my attention to the issue. He kind of goes into meditation.
Right, he's very steady. He's not like
Yeah.
freaking out. Also, oh my God, this sounds horrible.
He has the ability to concentrate his mind on God because it's not so caught up in the opulence and the power and the,
You're like Lord Brahma, Kastuba. You know that?
wish
You're
I- I wish I
steady.
was
You're
more like-
even. You're even keeled.
I wish, Raghunath, I wish.
No, I'm serious. I remember we were doing the podcast, and I remember it was just around George Floyd. And I was like, we got to say something. You know, we got. I was like taking in all the news. I was like, we got to mention this on the show. And you were, and I was sort of like freaking out about everything. It's a pandemic. Everyone's got a mask on. Do we do the show with a mask? But you know, I'm
going to do the show with a
panic.
mask.
I'm losing my house. My wife is leaving me. Everything was like crumbling in my world. And you're like, I think you're such a you are a sage of steady mind, sir.
You're too kind to me. You're too kind.
I'm just gonna call you Brahmaji. Brahmaji.
It's all right.
Is that okay?
I prefer that you don't.
Brahmaji.
I appreciate the sentiment.
Okay.
Okay.
Brahmaji.
So not only was he able to concentrate his mind, bring it to Lord Vishnu, but you could actually see it in him. He became like lustrous, right? He became bright faced, and then he began to speak.
Mhm.
What do you say?
Lord Brahma said. So here's Lord Brahma speaking.
Yeah.
Picture Kastuba with 4
No,
heads.
no, 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 no.
Holding a water pot, a mace, whatever. Shiva. What does he hold? Brahma?
Come on, maybe some books. I don't
A
know.
water pot, I think. Some books. He owes the Vedas, I think. Okay. Lord Shiva, all of you demigods, the demons, the living entities born of perspiration.
It's one
Yeah,
category of.
they're out there.
Yeah.
The living beings born of eggs,
We know about them.
chickens, birds, the trees and plants sprouting from the earth, and
Yeah.
the living entities born of embryos all
Okay.
come from the Supreme Lord, from his incarnations of Rajaguna, Lord Brahma, the Guna avatar, and or from Lord Brahma, the Guna avatar, and from the great sages, the rishis, who are part of me.
Oh, okay.
Let us therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of his lotus feet.
Okay. Simple logic here, right?
Simple logic. You coming
That-
to me? Let's take this up to my boss.
Yeah, because we all come from him. It's like he gave birth to me. I gave birth to the sages with my mind. The sages populated the universes as well, including all different categories of living beings.
Mm.
So everything is coming from one root. Let's go back to that root. Right? Let's connect with that root. All right.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no one to be killed, no one to be protected, no one to be neglected, and no one to be worshipped. Nonetheless, for the sake of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, according to time, he accepts different forms as incarnations, either in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, or the mode of ignorance.
Okay. So yeah, he's above. We were just talking about Brahma being kind of like above everything. But even Brahma is involved in the act of creation, and now he's getting involved in some universal affairs and all that. He's saying like Vishnu is like outside of that, beyond that, the origin of all that, but beyond it, he may kind of expand himself as the guna avatars, right? He expanded himself as me, in other words, to populate, create and populate. He expands himself as the guna avatars in order to set the whole material realm into its cycles of creation, maintenance, and destruction. But for him, he's not caught up like you guys. There's us and them. There's the devas and the demons, and the asuras. All the anxiety that you're in due to the relative circumstances that you're seeing as so, you're unable to zoom out and see it as temporary, or you're panicking and all that. He's way beyond all that. When we hear from him, we're hearing pure truth, unaffected, untouched by untainted by the material, by the confusing, deluding material energy.
Now is the time to invoke the mode of goodness of the living entities who've accepted material bodies. The mode of goodness is meant to establish the Supreme Lord's rule, which will maintain the existence of creation. Therefore, this is the opportune moment to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he is naturally very kind and dear to the demigods. He will certainly bestow good fortune upon us.
So sweet, right? It's like, here's a lesson, right? When we're feeling that panic, when we're feeling the fear setting in and so on, okay, that's the time for the mode of goodness. That's the time for sattva guna. What do I need to do right now to change my external circumstance so I can reach a place of responding more appropriately, right? Do I need to change the people that I'm with? Do I need to change the something about the environment that I'm in? Can I bring my mind to? We just saw the elephant Gajendra, when he was in his panic mode, he brought his mind back to the prayers of the Vedas. What do we need to do? And then on top of that, knowing the heart of Lord Vishnu, right? He's sweet, he's kind, right? You're very dear to him. He's not there to punish you, right? He loves you.
Omaraj Prickett, subduer of all enemies. After Lord Brahma finished speaking to the demigods, he took them with him to the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is beyond this material world. Imagine that, just leaving the material world. The Lord's abode is on an island called Shvetadvipa. right? Means the White Island, Shvetadvipa,
Mhm.
which is situated in the ocean of milk.
Yeah. The commentators say that it's actually the spiritual world within the material world.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Spiritual world within the material world.
Untouched by time, the influence of time, or the modes of material nature.
I wonder if, I'm not going to even speculate. Is it like just whitish water, or is it actually milk?
I say it's milk.
Like milk?
Although we just did read a word where it talked about the ocean milk, and then it said within the water. It's
Well,
interesting
that
the
means the
word
water
phrase
of the milk.
that.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
That seems to indicate that it's milky-ish water, right?
Yeah, it might not be full potency milk. It might be watered down milk.
When they churn it,
It might be skim milk. The ocean of skim milk. Is it full fat? Like where is it unhomogenized? They didn't have homogenization back then. It must have been like all the thick top of the water, top of the ocean of milk is very thick.
thick
Can't
layer.
get out.
Scoop it off the top.
Oh, Krishna.
All right.
And then if it gets very stormy and warm out, then it could turn to yogurt all of a sudden. You're like, ah. You think of that? That could happen.
I didn't think of that. I didn't. But this is kind of also a common Vedic scene, right? Where Brahma and the Devas go to the ocean of milk and they begin to. Brahma communicates to Lord Vishnu there. You know, Raghunath, there's an interesting.
Tell me.
I think it's in the Bhakti Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami. I believe that's where this is found. But he shares this idea about kirtan, right? Why kirtan is the Yuga Dharma? Why it's so powerful? Because, you know, like where Brahma lives, where all those, we were talking about those sages at the upper regions of the universe, they're not affected by these time cycles of Kali Yuga kicking in like we are, you know? They're above and beyond that. But we're so affected by the different ages that we live in, the cycles that the earth is going through.
Yeah.
And so whereas Lord Brahma had the ability to sit and meditate and connect to God in his heart, we don't, our minds.
He's
are
already
like,
zoomed out
yeah,
because he's seeing these life cycles are tiny.
yeah.
My existence as Raghunath is actually very, I'm looking at this. Well, this is pretty big. I got like 80 years to go. Wow. It's tiny. Lord Brahma, it's like a blink of Lord Brahma's eyes that Raghunath exists. And he opens his eyes. There's a whole nother embodied jiva, an embodied spirit soul that thinks he's so important.
Yeah. And he's able to go into deep absorption, deep concentration, deep meditation. In this age, we're not. So we meditate on the holy name and we do it in a, you know, as a group, as a community. Then it's called sankirtan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Singing the names of God together, glorifying God together as a group. And Jiva Goswami says that when Brahma goes to Shvetadvipa,
yeah,
to communicate with Vishnu, who he does he does it kind of through meditation. Well, why doesn't he just do it alone, sitting back in Brahmaloka? What Jiva Goswami says, because when you come with the group, then it's more likely that that Vishnu hears the prayer. You know, it's like, hey, we're all here, you know, like. And so similarly, when we do kirtan all together, you know, it speaks to God more. It calls to him more in a sense, right? That like we're all singing your name. We're all here this together. So let's do it together as a group. You know, hey, let's get everybody to go over there and we'll see if we can convince this person, or let's get everybody to, you know, it's like, let's get everybody together, you know. So he's got everybody together.
I'm psyched to sing with you this weekend.
Oh, we're going to do it this
week. We're going to sing, we're going to dance around.
Good kirtans.
You and me are going to cross our wrists, hold our hands, and swing each other around.
No, maybe not. Maybe that won't happen. But either way, it'll still be great. Maybe we'll have a little Karuna kirtan, right?
Oh, let's see if we can get Karuna to come down.
Yeah.
My son Rocco's going to come. We'll play Mridanga.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do they say when they get there?
This is very interesting. Here's what happens. Yeah. There at Shvetadvipa, Lord Brahma offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? You don't just barge in. You don't walk. You just offer prayers. First thing you see to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Even people do this spontaneously.
Yeah, it's not like an official rule,
right? But like when
so
you meet
honored to meet you.
I'm your biggest fan.
My whole life, you would. Right?
Yeah, that record changed my life, or the book that you wrote has, meant so much to me, or, we're so appreciative of this or that, right? Like that comes spontaneously when you really feel it, right?
I get a lot of these. I love your book. I doubled it. I bought two. I bought one for my mom. I thought she stuff like that.
I doubled it.
I doubled it.
So when Lord Brahma, when they come, it's not a mood like we're these groveling little, no,
Not these little grovelers.
it's spontaneous appreciation from the heart.
Right. Right.
It's love.
And because they're very evolved beings, not like me, I'm like fumbling around in the material world. When they open their mouth, it's all beautiful poetry.
Beautiful
They're
poetry and
offering beautiful, rhyming,
meaningful.
with
Insightful,
alliteration and
Other ornaments.
other ornaments. Don't laugh into the microphone at least, so you can see so the world can see how you're laughing at me, Mara.
Laughing with you.
Oh, yes. Anyway,
Oh, we got a little something from Saragrahi.
what's up, Saragrahi? What did she say in the Garga Samhita? The
Oh, you
Kir
love the Garga
Sagara
Samhita.
milk ocean is personified as Nagalakshmi, the consort of Shesha.
Hmm.
So Vishnu rests there on Shesha, and Shesha rests on Shakti.
Okay.
I like that Saragrahi brew.
Shesha, Shakti.
I like that last
Did it
name.
say whether
I
it's like
do.
whole milk?
Still didn't get to the bottom of that.
All right.
Anyway, maybe we're gonna have to wait till we die and experience it. I'm gonna be like, if I die first, I was like, I'm gonna come back as a ghost just to tell Kostuba what the ocean of milk is
Let me
like.
tell you about them. It was
I
really
had this
milk.
dream. Raghunath came to me.
I'm telling you, it was whole milk. And yes, there was some cream on top.
There was. By the way, I had a dream the night before last. We had no show yesterday, but I wanted to say I had this dream of us all dancing in Vrindavan, all of us.
Oh,
It was really
wow.
cool.
I'm getting Raghunath.
Are you
It's
getting geared
setting
up
in-
for India?
I'm getting geared up. I just found out the place. The place that I'm going first and spending 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
I'm teaching. I got pulled into teaching for like a yoga teacher training for a group of. I'm not even going to say what country they're from, but they're from a country where you
A secret country.
can't practice bhakti.
Yeah, you can't. It was
And,
it was hard for us to even believe. There's places you're not allowed to practice bhakti, or they will kill you.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. It's like we're gonna kill you.
So it's they said it was in Rishikesh, but actually it's not in Rishikesh. It's it's further up than Rishikesh.
Oh.
And it's a 20-minute walk from Dev Prayag. Dev Prayag, I mean, that's a place I always wanted to go.
Oh, you never been there?
I never been there.
Some people say the Ganga starts there.
Yeah,
because it's
'cause
the
the-
Alakananda and the
Bhagirati.
Bhagirati meet there.
Yeah.
That's where
Did you go
Radhanath
to the
Swami.
Raghunath temple there?
Yeah, I've been to the Raghunath temple there. That's where Radhanath Swami took his bath and he got dragged away, and the sadhu grabbed him by the
Kailash
arm,
Baba.
remember?
Kailash Baba
Yeah,
grabbed him.
Yeah.
And then that
Yeah.
Kailash Baba kind of began to train him to be a sadhu, even though
Yeah.
they couldn't speak the language. They were like communicating with
I've
each
bathed there. It's really sketchy. You really feel like I might die here. There's a chain you hold on to and lower
I just
yourself
can
into
just
the
go up there
water.
and chant my rounds every day, I'm psyched.
It's great.
I'm getting all geared up for that.
Oh man, exciting.
And they're staying in a really like 5-star kind of place up there too. It's like you think of going up there, you're staying in some like real,
Right.
But
Well, did you hear about that in the interview? I'm totally scrolling off because it's the end of the show right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you heard the gist of the story of Hridai Chaitanya for our interview day Sunday, but it was this whole thing of like, I'm excited to talk to this guy who walked from France, Dijon, France, the place that's famous for mustard. And he walked all the way to Vrindavan. And then when they sent me his bio, it was like, wait a second, he didn't make it to Vrindavan. And so I asked him about it. He said, yeah, I was walking through Iran. And it takes 4 months to walk through Iran, even if you're walking fast. I needed a month extension. And I went to the government and they were like, nope, we will not extend it. And then he went to the Pakistan government for some reason. And the Pakistan government was like, we will make sure you never get your butt in here.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And he's like, and he says, like, I had to fly to India from Iran. And he's like, and I entered Vrindavan like a loser.
Like a loser.
And he said, and it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Yeah, because he said
Because Stuba,
because
you might be staying in some great luxury.
Okay.
You understand where I'm going this? But that's not how you enter the Dom. You got to go in there like a loser.
I'm a
When you
loser. There's no doubt about that.
Huh? You know,
Like-
you got to go with that mood of like, I am not important, but the Ganga is important. The people
Thank you,
living
Robin.
on the banks
Thank
of the
you.
Ganga,
Thank
they
you.
are important. I'm here to
Thank
help you, Kastuba. I can help you.
Loser.
Okay. Think of yourself low. I'm tiny, not like I'm staying in this luxury. Blah, 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 blah. No,
No.
let me guide you. Let
Are
me
we gonna-
be your Dom guru, Kastuba.
Thank you, Raghunath. Are we gonna go to? Are we staying in Haridwar?
No, but we're going to visit there. We're going to visit there for a day. We're going to do some kirtan. We're going to do some lamp action. We're going to bathe. And we're going to have
Let
lunch.
us also investigate. Maybe when I arrive there, I'll investigate a bit into. Do we know the place where Vidur met Maitreya in Haridwar?
You know what? It might not be Haridwar because Haridwar had a different name. You know what? This is a good India. Let's see if any Indians know this out there. Haridwar's old name was, who knows? It was called you're Googling it. Mayapuri.
I'm not googling it. I was gonna go to
Mayapuri.
Bhagavatam and see what Bhagavatam calls it.
Yeah, I think they might. Well, but Haridwar just means the gateway to Lord Hari. So it could have been a name for any of the number of cities that are on the Ganga but below the Himalayas.
Possibly. Let's look it up.
I think I think I looked this up once, and I think it is called. You know, they do use that word Haridwar. It just may not be the same Haridwar as we know it.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Because historically, the city was called Mayapuri. Because there's a big
Hari.
Maya Devi temple there.
Do you think it's spelled with the autocorrect wants it to be hardware?
Hardware. Well, some people call it Hardwar for Lord Shiva, the gateway to Lord Shiva, and some people call it Haridwar, the gateway to Lord Hari. It is both, depending on your mood. Isn't that interesting? Rajasundari Radha is like, Raghunath's so wise. He's so deep.
He knows so much.
He knows so much. How can I ever?
Now, apparently,
Okay, wait a second.
Something from
Saragrahi Brew, she's on this already. Mara?
Oh, great. Yeah.
a famous place of Haridwar, a famous place of pilgrimage in the northern foothills of the Himalaya mountains. This is where Ajamil went for purification, where Prajapati Daksha performed his sacrifice and lost his daughter Sati,
Wait, that was
Wow.
but that was on another planet.
and where some drops of nectar falling from the hand of Mohini Murti, the
Oh, yeah.
Lord's incarnation as a woman, landed.
Yeah, it's a Shakti pit.
Because these drops of nectar fell, there is a Kumbh Mela every 12 years here. Nowadays, the town is known as Haridwar, meaning
what
the
about
gateway to the Lord.
Uddhava.
Yeah. Me and Lori went up there, Lori Pag, on this trip once. And it's like, I was like, well, you know what? We were supposed to go to Badrinath. And then we were like, let's go up to the Shakti pit, way on top of that hill. Yeah, we'll just take a bus. Oh my God, do not take a bus up that hill. I was like in extreme panic. We got the back wheel hanging off the side of the cliff. It was like one of those
Oh man.
crazy videos you see on YouTube of like, what's it like driving to, Tibet? And it was just like winding, losing my marbles.
It's not like that going up to.
Yes, it is, sir. Dave Prayag, have
Is
fun.
it? All right.
Yes, you better just have everybody chanting the holy name.
Is it like that for real?
Yeah.
Are you just playing with me?
No, it is. It is not super far, but it's still
There's some
2 hours
scariness, huh?
north on those sketchy roads.
Maybe I should just walk.
I would walk, but then you got to
At the
deal with
time.
crazy because these drivers are just crazy. Better to make smaller vehicles. Oh, Gandharva Giridhari took a bus to Badrinath. Oh Lord,
I can't.
she was chanting like crazy.
Haridwar in the
Should we
Srimad
do some takeaways? Well,
Yeah, let's do some takeaways
some
while
takeaways.
me
I'm
and
gonna keep
Kastuba
looking this up.
squirrel off.
yeah.
Merrick is the squirrel.
real self-worth doesn't come from the vehicle you drive.
Comes from doing worthy things. Huh?
Yeah. Don't
Miss
ass-
Mara?
don't assume the identity of your BMW or your Range Rover.
Don't assume. Oh, don't assume it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And don't take on that identity. Some of us are born in a BMW. Some of us are born on a Scion XB.
Oh, I'm feeling a little scion. After all that gluten, I feel a little bit like a scion.
Become freed of the upadhis.
I got to go to the body shop.
Let your worth be based on connection and integrity.
Ooh.
The material world is meant to crack us like a macadamia nut.
The hardest nuts to crack, sir.
I got some interesting stuff already on that, but
On nuts.
No.
on Haridwar.
Oh, give me, feed me,
Give me.
tell me.
So in the verse that talks about where Vidur met Maitreya, Prabhupada translates Kushavarte as Haridwar. Now, in the
Oh.
commentary, he says, now I'm going to jump to something, then I'm going to come back to this. But when I look up the word Kushavarte, that word is used in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's like and it refers to a place that Sri Chaitanya visited, which is like in a whole nother place in India. Okay.
Yeah.
So
See,
that would seem to speak to what you're saying, is that maybe it wasn't that Haridwar.
Yeah.
that
This,
we're thinking.
yeah.
But when I
Right,
go
wonder
to
where
the
that is.
commentary
Dargrahi
here,
says maybe Dharmaputra, maybe it's and of course Dinesh.
Dharmaputra.
Awful stuff,
But now
man.
I'm going to look into the commentary. Here the words Virajas Tirtha Sevya refer to Vidura, who was completely cleansed of all contamination by traveling to places of pilgrimage. In India, there are hundreds of places of sacred places: Prayag, Haridwar, Vrindavan, Rameshwar. It seems like Prabhupada speaking about the Haridwar of the famous Haridwar when he says that. But
Yeah, but it could be, sort of like there's
Inconclusive.
Amsterdam in Holland and there's also Amsterdam, New York.
inconclusive.
You know.
Inconclusive, yeah. Okay, you continue, Mary. I'll see if I can find anything more.
All right. Fear and panic is the time for sattva guna.
Fear and panic.
Lord Brahma is already zoomed out.
He's so zoomed out. I mean, he's above everything. You can't help but being zoomed out.
Don't barge in. Offer spontaneous prayers first.
I think it was a tutor. Somebody said on the message board, like the yugas are like our seasons for Lord Brahma. Like, oh, it's winter.
I mean, I don't think they even touch Lord Brahma. It's like they're going they're going by so quick. It's like
maybe many yugas together are like a season. Isn't that hard to believe? I really think I'm important, but I'm just like tiny. Our importance comes from something much more deeper, right? It comes from our connection.
And be steady and live in la Brahmaloka.
Livin la Brahmaloka. R-A-G-H-U. Livin la Brahmaloka.
That's a pretty good one.
R-A-G-H-U.
Now we need to live more like in Brahmaloka.
Yeah, we do. We do. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I'm back. 15 on the Church says 97,000 years. It's 1 second to Lord Brahma. Oh, man, we've been through millions of bodies in that time, Christina. 97,000 years. Woo. Okay, love goes out to everybody in Florida dealing with this storm, dealing with Milton. Thanks, Pierre, for joining us. It's winding down to the Wisdom of Sages retreat. Looking forward to that. Also, my Nepal retreat is still open. If you want to register, we still have like 1 or 2 spaces left. Come on to Nepal, hiking through the Himalayas. And also January, Pradanga School, Kirtan School, Wisdom of Sages retreat, or 200 and 300 hour training. Join us in India January. Kastuba's going to India now, next week. He's staying there the whole time.
I'm staying for 5 months.
Huh?
5 months.
5 months. It's awesome. Thank you to everybody who listens on Zoom. It's fun. I feel like I know all you guys. And thanks to everybody who's coming down in person to hang with us. Sunday we have, after the retreat ends in the morning, we're having a seva retreat. Yeah, why should we get prepared for India? Why not just, to save a day. To save a day. Come on down for planning, cutting, chopping, stacking, raking, doing some push-ups, feasting. What's a codicy? Fasting. You'll get nothing for your work. I will fast on some good. No, so oftentimes the fast days are more delicious. Oh, Krishna. Sort of good to be back. I got a list of stuffs I got to do today, Kostubji. We're going to go.
I got long lists, Raghunath.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Come on.
I'll share with you right now. Read it for you.
You see that apartment? Your apartment's already clean. You're already packed, I'm sure. We've got so much stuff to put away. We got lawns to be mowed, gardens to be put down for the winter. Stu has things to do too.
I do.
Like, well, I gotta fold up my glasses and put them in the glass case.
Not like you. You just throw things.
I just throw my glasses. I got shirts to fold.
Not like you. You just walk in, throw your shirt.
No need to fold them.
It was like my shoes are a mess. I got like 3 pairs of shoes. I gotta put them in order.